Over 50 years ago, engineers proposed a radical idea to generate clean energy without using a single acre of land. For decades, the entire energy industry completely ignored it. As the world rapidly modernized, we sacrificed vast landscapes and clean air to the relentless appetite of massive coal plants, dismissing alternatives as mere science fiction novelties. But as land became increasingly scarce and expensive, an underdog technology finally emerged from the shadows. The answer was waiting for us on the surface of our quiet reservoirs. Floating photovoltaics, or photovoltaics, transformed from an ignored patent into a revolutionary reality. It is a deceptively simple invention poised to completely disrupt the global energy monopoly. Today, we are engineering massive floating solar farms of such unprecedented scale. Just one installation has the raw power to permanently replace 3 massive coal plants. The underlying science is brilliantly elegant. Traditional solar panels lose significant efficiency as they heat up under the scorching sun. But water creates a continuous, natural cooling effect. By resting directly on the cool surface of a reservoir, the photovoltaic cells operate at optimal thermal temperatures, dramatically boosting their overall energy yield compared to standard land installations. This elegant synergy extends beneath the surface. The floating arrays act as a protective shield, drastically reducing water evaporation in drought-stricken regions while preserving our most precious resource. By blocking direct, intense sunlight, these floating platforms actively prevent toxic algae blooms from devastating local ecosystems, genuinely improving the water quality of industrial and agricultural reservoirs. Most importantly, it completely eliminates the fierce competition for valuable real estate. We no longer have to sacrifice precious agricultural land or clear forests to harvest the sun. Most importantly, it completely eliminates the fierce competition for valuable real estate. We no longer have to sacrifice precious agricultural land or clear forests to harvest the sun. The vision rapidly escalated from small experimental ponds to colossal, gigawatt-scale infrastructure projects. Global engineering teams are now deploying millions of interconnected modules across massive artificial lakes. Pairing floating solar directly with existing hydroelectric dams is a masterstroke. The solar panels provide immediate daytime power, while the dam stores water to generate electricity all night. This hybrid approach utilizes the exact same transmission infrastructure already built for the dam. It completely bypasses the agonizingly slow and incredibly expensive process of upgrading the national grid. The sheer physical footprint is staggering. By covering just 10% of the world's man-made reservoirs, we could generate more electricity than the entire fossil fuel industry combined. Unlike the destructive energy projects of the past, wildlife is actually thriving here. Birds use the stable pontoons for resting, while aquatic life finds refuge in the shaded waters below. This is not just a triumph of physics, it is a vindication for the visionary engineers who were relentlessly mocked and ignored by the coal industry for over 50 years. Construction speed is entirely unmatched. Without the need for heavy earth-moving equipment or complex concrete foundations, these massive floating arrays can be deployed in a fraction of the time. They are modular, scalable, and beautifully efficient. We are looking at the ultimate weapon to rapidly accelerate the global clean energy transition before the climate clock runs out. But nature is a violent, unpredictable adversary. Critics loudly warned that placing delicate electrical infrastructure on open water was an incredibly dangerous and financially reckless proposition. Severe typhoons and aggressive wave dynamics threatened to tear the arrays apart. Engineers had to invent incredibly resilient, flexible mooring systems capable of withstanding catastrophic Category 5 winds. The legacy coal industry did not surrender quietly. They launched massive disinformation campaigns, desperately trying to convince the public that floating solar was an unreliable, toxic, and expensive gimmick. Trillions of dollars in stranded fossil fuel assets were suddenly at risk. The old guard fought viciously in Parliament to choke off funding and suffocate the floating solar revolution. Maintenance was another brutal hurdle. Combining high-voltage electricity with a highly corrosive aquatic environment demanded unprecedented innovations in waterproofing and advanced robotic inspection protocols. Yet, despite the storms, the corrosion, and the intense political sabotage, the technology held strong. The ignored underdog proved to be entirely virtually indestructible under the harshest conditions. The tipping point arrived. Armed with undeniable data and plummeting costs, the new floating megafarms finally triggered the absolute, permanent demolition of the most polluting coal plants on Earth. Where toxic ash and black smoke once choked the atmosphere, vast geometric fields of silent, clean energy now gracefully ride the gentle ripples of our revitalized water systems. We successfully replaced catastrophic environmental destruction with perfect, mathematical harmony. A single colossal floating installation has officially rendered 3 massive, legacy coal-fired power stations entirely obsolete. The invention that sat ignored in a dusty filing cabinet for 50 years has spectacularly vindicated its creators, transforming our most critical water reservoirs into infinite engines of life. We stopped fighting against nature and finally learned to float alongside it. The future of clean energy isn't just bright, it is beautifully, perfectly buoyant. If you work in the solar industry and want to precisely track, analyze, and optimize your real project performance without the guesswork, the link to Base app is right below.